Coming up, traditional Cherokee basket weaver Bessie Russell takes us along as she picks wild vines that will eventually be transformed into something like this.
For one about that size, it would probably take about 30 inches.
What she's doing to ensure her craft is passed down to younger generations. And
history is made, ladies and gentlemen. There's our four-time state champion, Wyatt Sheets.
He just kind of threw me out there with the wolves, and I'm kind of beginning to lead the pack, so.
And artist Ryan Lee Smith shares the secret that pushes him to create award-winning contemporary art.
There's so many things I want to just recreate, represent, build, and tear up and burn down, and it's hard to contain.
How breaking art's rules led him to his creative style.
The Cherokees.
A thriving American Indian tribe.
Our history.
Our culture.
Our people.
Our future.
The principles of a historic nation.
Sewn into the fabric of a modern world.
Hundreds of thousands strong.
Learning. Growing.
Succeeding.
And steadfast.
In the past, we have persevered through struggle.
But the future is ours to write.
Osiyo.
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 These are the voices of the Cherokee people.
Osiyo, I'm Principal Chief Bill John Baker. Welcome to the Cherokee Nation and OsiyoTV. This is how we share our culture, our heritage, our history, and our language with you. Wado.
Osiyo, it's how we say hello in Cherokee. In this episode, we'll visit a contemporary artist who says he was flooded with inspiration when he moved home to Oklahoma, and a four-time high school state wrestling champion whose family is creating a local wrestling legacy. But first, traditional basket weaving with Cherokee National Treasure Bessie Russell. Bessie has passed her craft down through 3 generations and created some of the Cherokee Nation's most prized modern-day baskets.
Okay, I'll start with who I am. I'm Bessie Russell, and I'm one of the living treasures, and I've been weaving baskets for over 40 years.
Gun or sausage is how we say it, isn't it? Gun or sausage, that means broom. They used to get all that buckbrush, and they made brooms a long time ago. Gun or sausage.
If you don't know, you got to learn how to identify it first, you know, and it grows not tall, maybe 3 feet tall, and it grows berries, and that's the easiest way to identify it is those little berries, you know, they're just kind of clusters, you know, not very big. That's the best kind if you can get some like that. Well, I went to school at Rocky Ford. Of course, I just went up to the 8th grade, and after that, I went to school at Oaks. I hated it. Of course, when I started to school, I couldn't speak English. At home, you know, my dad could, you know, speak a little bit, but it was all kind of what they say, broken English. And my mom, she never did talk English to us, so that's all we knew. If you want to be a traditional basket maker or call yourself a traditional basket maker, then you've got to start from the bottom. First, you go gather. Then you boil it. And then you strip it. And then sometimes I even had to bleach it a little bit, you know. After that, it's just coil it up or however you want to store it, you know, until you get ready to make your basket. For one about that size, it would probably take about 30 inches, and you cut 12 of the same length, and then you divide those into 6, and then a half of one, and you cross the 6 together, but you always make sure that the 6 that's in your right hand goes over the ones that's in your left hand, or it won't come out right when you start weaving.
She's probably gotten it all, though, because she was here earlier.
There's still some.
You didn't get any cutters, did you?
Here's a good one.
Or that one right there?
This one?
No, that one, yeah, that one will work. It's one way over there.
Well, this one here? Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Your daughters are out here today. Do they help you with this a lot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they know just about everything I know. They know how to gather, they know how to treat it. I was asking them the other day, did I teach you how to make baskets, or did you just kind of do it on your own? They're both, I call them basket weavers because they both can do it. And as I said, they know just everything that I know as far as gathering and how to treat it and everything and get it ready to make a basket.
So are you going to put color in this one? Or is it going to be?
Yeah. My granddaughter, she knows how to weave baskets. And Vicky's got a grandson that has made baskets. Yep, I've got 3 generations. I do a lot of things I make baskets for a while, and then I'll go do something else. But here lately, it's just been mostly baskets and those beads. And the beads, I don't go out and gather it. Jane gives me the remnants, so that's where I make mine beads from. But there's still lots of steps to it. Anyway, you roll them, and then you punch holes in them. I'm kind of amazed, that there are still so many out there that don't know how. There's so many out there that still wants to learn. It makes me feel like, especially if I know they're really interested, and want to carry on, that's really important, because maybe one of these days, nobody may not be around to teach them how to do this, and there's just not very many of them that's doing the traditional read. I really feel blessed, of being able to do what I do, and I never dreamed that I would be doing this when I first started to school and couldn't even understand English, So that's I'm just amazed and how things can turn out, So I'm just thankful, and I just have to keep going, take care of everybody else,
He's won the high school state championship 4 times and now has his sights set on one of the top-ranked college-level wrestling programs in the country. Wyatt Sheets comes from a well-known wrestling family, but attributes most of his success to determination and practice.
He's ranked number 7 nationally in the nation on a couple of different polls. Probably Wyatt's best attribute is his mental toughness. He's able to put himself through things that people could only dream of.
I'm definitely proud of how far he's came, and it's really inspiring to see somebody that works that hard. And so every time he wins, I'm super proud because I know how hard he worked for that.
He always does his work, nose to the grindstone, finds a way to win, kind of all of the recipe for success.
My name's Wyatt Sheets, and I'm a state champion wrestler for Still High School. I started in, I think, first grade. I was like 5 years old. Yeah, my dad's always coached me since I've grown up. He's the one who got me started. There's like a different, there's novice and open. And novice is like where the beginners start out and work your way up to the open. I never really got to do the novice, so they just kind of threw me out there with the wolves, and I'm kind of beginning to lead the pack, so. In high school, I've won state 3 times, and then I'll be going for my 4th one this weekend. Out of state, All-American, I've All-Americaned maybe 4 or 5 times.
I've been coaching Wyatt Sheets for 4 years. He's an exceptional kid to coach. He's a tireless worker. You know, it's bittersweet this year because it's coming to an end and everything, but he's going on to bigger and better things, and he hasn't cracked the surface of what he's going to do. He's going to do big things. He's just that kind of kid.
The sacrifices that he really does make. I mean, all the kids are going to a dance or they're getting to go do things, and he's involved in a lot of things that he has to say no to because he has wrestling practice or a tournament. To me, that's the real sacrifice that he does, because he's giving up something that he would have fun doing, but he's going after his goals.
When I'm not wrestling, yes, I do love hunting and fishing. Fishing's probably one of my favorite because I cut a lot of weight in the summer, and that's what I go do. It just keeps my mind off the food and all the drinks. But hunting, fishing, trapping, I shoot archery. Yeah, I look up to him a lot because everybody says he was the toughest, the meanest wrestler there ever was. When I was little, we would always go to duels at OSU. My dad wrestled there, of course. I think he won 74 matches in a row. It's the 3rd best in OSU history, so he's pretty good. I kind of want to break his records more than anything else, so that's kind of what drives me also.
Well, I think one of the reasons why, you know, we signed Wyatt Sheets is obviously his work that he's put in. You know, just knowing that this kid's done it by himself with his dad and his family, and I'm excited about having him. Well, I think for Wyatt, you know, this is an opportunity for him to go down in history for not only to win 4, but to be the first one from Stillwell to do something like this. This is a great matchup. I mean, this is a tough matchup, try to win your 4th championship. So nothing's given, you know. If he wins tonight, he's gonna earn every bit of it, because this is a good wrestler.
From Stillwell, Wyatt Sheets.
Keep moving, keep moving. There you go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes!
Focus, discipline, self-sacrifice, hard work, and determination. The rest is just heart.
In early 1832, the Cherokee Nation had been shaken up by the federal government's attempts to seize more Cherokee land after the passage of the Indian Removal Act. Settlers were moving onto Cherokee land in the southeast, and Cherokees were being forced out. U.S. military forces had invaded the nation. Non-Cherokee intruders were staking claims on tribal land, and the Cherokee chiefs were threatened with arrest if they met for their annual tribal council session. A delegation consisting of Cherokee leaders John Martin, Elias Boudinot, John Ridge, and William Shorey Cootie traveled to Washington months earlier and remained through the spring of 1832, appealing to Congress to intervene and enforce the treaties that protected the Cherokees' right to occupy their lands. In this document presented to Congress, the delegates describe in detail the extraordinary circumstances that were, quote, threatening the very existence of their nation and the peace and happiness of the whole community. As an example, they wrote, an intruder came into the territory, stole a Cherokee ferry boat, sold liquor, and constructed buildings, including a post office for which he acted as postmaster, all illegally on land belonging to Cherokee citizens. The 1830s saw the beginning of the official Indian removal policies, with government agents traveling through the Cherokee Nation, urging citizens to relocate, with promises of provisions, compensation, and land in the West. Despite the Cherokee Nation's pleas and efforts, some felt like relocation would be their ultimate fate, years before the Trail of Tears would displace the majority of the tribe to present-day Oklahoma. So, on April 10, 1832, a group of 500 Cherokees, slaves, and whites who had been living with the Cherokees left their homelands for Indian Territory in one of the first official pre-Trail of Tears immigration parties. They joined other Cherokees who had already immigrated west of the Mississippi and who had in fact already established a tribal government in 1824, calling themselves the Cherokee Nation West.
Jalagi iniwanihi. Let's talk Cherokee. April. Kawani.
Kawani.
Springtime is in April. Kawani katla kila. Go gei ge soi. Kawani.
Kawani.
Katla.
Katla.
Kila.
Kila.
Go gei
Gogei.
ge soi.
Gesoi.
Buzzard. Suli.
Suli.
The buzzard is soaring high. Suli kalalati kanohili tohoi. Suli
Suli.
kalalati
Galalati.
kanohili tohoi.
Kanohili dohoi.
Sun. Nata.
Nada.
The sun is shining. Nata. Agalia. Nata.
Nada.
Agalia.
Agalia.
Ryan Lee Smith is a contemporary Cherokee artist who uses found items to create everything he does. He lives on the land he grew up on here in Oklahoma and says that's what inspires him more than anything.
My name is Ryan Lee Smith. I'm from Creek County, Oklahoma, Bristow, but born in Tahlequah. I'm a painter and a sculptor. I learned in art school exactly what the rules were and that they were completely ridiculous. And I sold abstracts, complete, non-objective pieces for 20 years. It was still a little contrived, It felt like I was working harder before I got here, and now it just flows out. Now it's just, it's effortless. I left for a while, came back, and when I got back, that's when it all started making sense, man. That's when I felt guilty for taking all of it for granted, and I was just hypersensitive just to everything. The creeks I used to play in, those giant rocks, it was, still is, just full of sentiment. I couldn't do it in the middle of town, that's for sure.
We're more alike, really, than my husband just shakes his head at us.
Oh
both of
yeah,
us.
he doesn't want to. You don't want to tell him what you're doing with something.
First piece he done me was chalk, and it's a big bass. Our minister loves his artwork. He thinks that Ryan captures the eyes, the spirit of the. He said, Ryan, you've got the spirit. He did him a crow, and he loved his crow because he said, through his eyes, he could see Ryan having the feeling as he was doing it.
My grandmother, you know, that's where all my values come from. Who do you most want to emulate? You know, who taught you the things that you use today? You use to make your decisions. You use to, you know, feel excitement. You know, everybody, you know, has somebody like that, I'm sure. I met my wife in Colorado. She was going to school at Fort Lewis. I was just running around, in Durango. And when I met her, I really came on strong. She goes, hey, I've been looking for you for a long time, you know, I acted all. It worked. I did her a painting, too. I'll show you the painting.
This one was my favorite one. He had said he had a dream where he was in the woods and there was a bear and an eagle hugging, and it was like they were dancing. I told him that my end name was, you know, like a little bear walking down a path, and he goes, hey. And then he come back a couple days later with this. That was us then, the dream. I had to be, because it was before it was like right before we had met and started dating. So I always thought that was neat.
I couldn't do this if, you know, someone didn't make the nest like just right. Because, you know, you gotta have a good nest to go crazy, man. I mean, I rely on her for everything, you know. She takes care of our two boys, which I got the third king, in next week. Yeah, very fortunate to have an understanding partner. That's what I do everything for. I do every single thing, you know. Standing right here for that same reason, you know. The work that I'm doing now is more authentic, it's more genuine, it's like a gift. It just comes out. There's so many things I want to just recreate, represent, build, and tear up, and burn down, and it's hard to contain. I'm building this crazy sculpture in the middle of the pasture. I'm building a house in the shape of an eagle. I'm not in any big hurry, and I'm just doing it by myself with all repurposed materials. Each one of these bays will be like, that's the heart of the bird, right there in the center. And each one of these bays will be like a different, like maybe a level, and the one will go like that, and kick that wing out so you can see each other from each tip, you know, from one end to the other. It's a faith game, man, and I have 100%, you know, confidence. I'm certain, I'm convinced that it's all gonna work out. Definitely being in the moment and not hindsight or careful planning and forethought and stuff like that. It sounds crazy to say it out loud, but it really is. You know, if I'm down completely, just, you know, 30 hours from home and no money, and I gotta cry all the way, you know, back across the country, and I know that something is happening. And now I realize that at that moment when I feel like going crazy and quitting, if I can be in that moment and know that I'm feeling that way at that second, I can make myself just persevere just a little bit further, and it's always like 10 times better than what I was planning, you know?
We hope you enjoyed our show. And remember, you can always watch entire episodes and share your favorite stories online at Osio.tv. There is no Cherokee word for goodbye. We say, Dona dago ha'i. We'll see each other again. So until next time, wado. It's your turn to visit the Cherokee Nation and explore 66,000 acres of lush Oklahoma countryside, scenic rivers and lakes, and engaging cultural attractions. like the John Ross Museum and Cemetery in Park Hill. The museum is set in a former rural schoolhouse built in 1913 and highlights the life and legacy of the influential Cherokee chief John Ross. Ross was principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for nearly 40 years during one of the most tumultuous and impactful times in its history. Born in 1790, Ross was a native of the old Cherokee Nation in what is now Georgia. He rose to prominence at a young age, and by 1827, Ross had served his nation as a delegate to Washington, D.C., as a veteran of the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, and as president of the Cherokee National Committee. In 1828, John Ross was elected principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for the first of many terms. Ross fought tirelessly against President Andrew Jackson's Indian removal policy, determined to protect the Cherokee homelands. Ultimately, Ross was unsuccessful in preventing the devastation that was the Trail of Tears. So he led the Cherokees to the new Indian Territory, where they would rebuild their government with Chief Ross at the helm. Ross and his family settled in Park Hill, Indian Territory, near present-day Tahlequah, Oklahoma. After a lifetime of working to preserve the sovereignty of the Cherokee Nation, Chief John Ross died in Washington, D.C. in 1866, campaigning for his people and his nation until the very end. He is buried in the Ross Cemetery in Park Hill, situated just behind the John Ross Museum. The cemetery is on the National Register of Historic Places and is the burial grounds for many in the Ross family, important Cherokee delegates, and survivors of the Trail of Tears. In addition to highlighting the life and legacy of Chief John Ross, the museum houses exhibits and interactive displays on the Trail of Tears, Civil War, Cherokee Golden Age, and Cherokee Nation's passion for the education of its people. The museum also has a gift shop and research area. To plan your visit to the museum, go to visitcherokeenation.com.
In the Cherokee Nation, news happens every day.
Cherokee Nation's economic impact on the state of Oklahoma now exceeds $2 billion.
The dollars that are generated here are creating jobs.
It benefits everyone.
Creating headlines.
The new 469,000 square foot health facility is the result of the largest joint venture agreement ever.
For the people of the Cherokee Nation, and will impact them for generations to come.
Creating opportunities.
Cherokee Nation employees can now take 8 weeks of paid maternity leave.
We have lots of young mothers and young families, and this is something that's very exciting.
This year, the tribe awarded $5 million to superintendents from about 100 public school districts.
When it comes to education, we're all in it together.
Creating a better place to call home.
The Wilma P. Mankeller Health Center in Stillwell, Oklahoma, nearly doubled in size.
That this absolutely will make a tremendous impact on the quality of life.
That's going to provide more jobs.
For more Cherokee Nation news, visit onadiskoe.com.